popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
What is up, Little Biscuits and Sun-Dried Tomatoes? It's your boy, Brandon Collins.
Guys, and this is Justin Brown.
And we're here at Medium Popcorn, Niggas Spoiling Movies, and we have a special returning guest, Mr. Jim Search. How you doing, sir?
I'm living life out loud, man. Thanks for having me. Good to see you both. What's going on?
Of course. And you have a special coming out, don't you?
I got an album. That's gonna drop.
Special album. That's exactly.
It's a very special album.
That's what you were trying to say, Brandon. I know.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Brandon is his segue game and his recovery game is perfect. So
I try, man.
Is spot on. I've got a album coming out. It's my first album called Upstate Understandings. It's going to be available early April. I want to say April 8th, in that neighborhood.
Okay.
Good number. Great number. April 8th. It's a great number.
It is. It's perfect. It's going to be out. It's all independent. So you can get it through Bandcamp. You can get it through me directly. Look it up on Bandcamp and hit the bio for it and buy it. And in fact, if you buy one, buy another one. Buy as many as you can,
Guys, we all need 4 of these. We all need 4.
There's a little caveat to purchases. It's a 4 album minimum purchase. 4 copies.
And if you buy 4, Jim will actually send you a 5th CD for free. Like, you want to get that 5th one.
You know what's funny is that this reminds me of and again, I want to shout out Jim on the show while we have him to say thank you for putting Southside on our radar. RIP, because I don't know if they're looking for a new home, because the most recent season of Southside had one of the funniest bits where it was like a 4-drink minimum at that nightclub where they were doing the trivia. Like 4-drink minimum. That's insane. That's people are getting so
crazy. Niggas be niggas.
Yeah. Whenever I get hit with any sort of there's a minimum, I just instinctually just go, is there a maximum?
Right.
Can I this is a $10 minimum? Is there a maximum then? Can I spend as much as I want? They're like, yeah, I guess. Your credit card.
There's a cover charge. No, there's no cover, but there's a minimum, so there's a cover charge, right?
Yeah.
So real quick, before we get into Creed 3, Jim, tell the people again how they can find their album and support you, bro.
Yes. Well, you can find me at Jim Search on all social media. JimSearchComedy.com is a place to hit my site. If you want to buy the album, you can hit my Bandcamp, which there's a link in my bio to that. So across all my social media platforms, there's a link for Bandcamp to go purchase the album. There's going to be merch on deck. I'm telling you, I'm going full 90s hip hop with it, man.
Will you be selling it out of the back of a small car, something foreign, right out of the trunk?
Oh, 100%. My metaphorical car.
There you go.
Will be that's where you can catch all the merch, all the CDs. I'm putting together a album release party over at Beer Wax in Brooklyn on Vanderbilt Ave. So there will be, if you follow me on social media, you'll see a post for that soon. So come through for that. That's gonna be dope, and y'all come for that too. Brandon is from LA for it.
Man, I ain't coming back till June, bro. If I come back, I'm really contemplating staying out here. It's very relaxing out here in the sun.
See, it's funny. Brandon was like, I got to get back. Now you see what happened? He became fucking Hollywood on us.
Well,
turn Hollywood on us.
you know what I noticed is that, and maybe this will come sooner than later, but now that Brandon's in LA, I haven't heard any snarky comments yet about me or anything else. And I don't know if that's just you being in LA, being relaxed.
I'm
But
a
I feel
peaceful man. What can I say?
yeah, you're very. It's because New York Brandon would have been like, this nigga. Wait,
Yeah.
This nigga trying to do an album.
yeah. This nigga's wearing a green shirt. Oh, you like green? You like green, huh? Yeah, I bet you like the color green, motherfucker.
Looking like a Ninja Turtle. Some
Mhm.
bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
to bring some
So-
80s reference into it.
exactly, or maybe
You know
that's
what?
for Tommy. I guess I don't know. Maybe.
I'm a very
Yeah.
joyful person these days. I'm relaxed. You know, I love the California life. It's so much so that I didn't even get that mad at my wife, who is a fan of the Creed series, but not the Rocky series. Because the whole time she's like, you know, I really like this movie. Jonathan Majors is great, but I have some issues with it. And I was like, you know what? You can't talk fully about this. Like, I'm gonna respect you, but at the same time, because you have not watched the whole Rocky series, you don't understand the love that Michael B. Jordan clearly has for the series, because the homages to Rocky 3 in this, I thought were like awesome. I was like, okay, this is someone who truly, like Ryan Coogler, really enjoyed the series. And it's like, you only appreciate that if you've fucking powered through all the Rocky movies, which have had their ebbs and flows, as we all know. But yeah, what Jim and Justin, what were your overall impressions of Creed 3 before we dig into the nitty gritty?
Okay. I'll go first, I guess. I'm here like, Justin, get out of the way. People need to
Go
hear
ahead now. Go ahead now.
You're our guest, baby. Be our guest.
Oh man. All right. Well, you know, I have to say, I thought it was, and I'm gonna catch so much heat, but I thought it was okay. Like it didn't catch me, and I wasn't like, I felt like 1 and 2, that brought my feels a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like I guess I felt like in this one, it was just like, oh man, he's just fighting his homie. Like him and his boy got a problem. And you know, it's a little more high stakes now, but it's just like, I don't know, it's 2 niggas who got trouble with each other. Before this, I felt like he was more scrappier. And so I'm just like, well, this gotta win. Like he's gotta win this. Like it felt like for me, in terms of the storyline, it's just like, all right, so you're coming out of retirement to fight your friend, which I enjoyed it. Like, don't get me wrong. There were definitely parts where I like caught me in the feels and I got caught, but I got more feels from the first and the second one. So, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the first one is a sports classic, I would say. But Justin, what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of with Jim on this. I thought that I thought the acting was great. Overall, the acting was great. But like I just had some issues with the story. I felt like if you're looking at Michael B. Jordan's character as Adonis Creed, he almost takes a step back in his growth from the first 2 movies. You know, and like, yes, we are getting a little bit more in depth to his story, and this is a bit of a time jump because they're going like to the end of his career, and then he comes out of retirement. You know, so like that's a weird thing.
But isn't that what happened to Rocky though? In Rocky 3, wasn't he like so famous he stopped fighting, and then it wasn't until Mr. T came and like tried to
no.
Yo, Adrian.
No, he did that weird exhibition fight with like Hulk Hogan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
he did.
That movie is so crazy.
Yeah, so like then you know when you get to 4, you know when Drago comes into the picture, like that's when it's like it's really something different, because he is coming closer to the end of his career, but then the death of his friend kind of lights the fire on. You know, so my issue with this is also, you know, and I know Stallone is going to love to hear someone say this. I feel like this does, you know, I have questions. What the fuck is going on with Rocky?
Yeah, he's not mentioned at all in this. I actually thought that was really weird, but at the same time, I know Sylvester Stallone is very bitter because apparently he essentially got pushed out of the series. Like he has no ownership over anything. So all the money that this movie's made, he's not getting any of that except for a little bit of credit for the producer thing. But he's been completely like MGM completely like blocked him out, which I get that. But then he's like, interview saying like, I'm never going to see Creed 3. I think they went a little bit darker, blah, blah, blah. It was weird to have a Rocky movie without Rocky. But I also appreciated like that they elevated all these like black characters. So like that was the main focus. But it is tough, right? Like when you see like Adonis going to a dark place, you would think, especially when everyone, spoiler alert, when Felicia Rashad dies, you would think at least like Sylvester Stallone would be at the funeral.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the thing that really
weird.
Bothered me.
Yeah. It was a bit
because it also leaves the thing is just like, wait, are they not on good terms anymore? Is he dead? Because also with the time jump, the way that they jumped in time, you don't know what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, within the second movie, he went from, being, he went from, the first movie where he's, a scrappy underdog. Then like the second movie, he's a champion now. He literally got the belt. He is the champ. And then you go from there. So it was like, yeah, I'm retiring, guys. It's my last fight. And you're just like, wait, what? And I think, dude has been in prison for how long?
18 years. 18 years.
No. The dude that he fought in the first one, how long has he been in prison?
Oh, wait, the dude he fought in the first one.
Yeah, the beginning of this movie, the guy that
he fights the guy from the first movie, but I don't know if that guy was in prison though.
Yes, he was. That's why he fought him. He went to prison.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. I mean, that's like a very small character detail.
Yeah. So that's the guy that he fought from the first one. So he went to prison over whatever bullshit that he did. I think he hit somebody or did something, and then that led to that's why he got that fight. So it was like almost like a farewell fight, him going off to prison. And then basically Adonis has gone undefeated up to that point. So the first fight in this movie is this dude getting his crack at the title again. So like how much time has passed? Like, has it been 5 years or whatever? It's like they need to get like with all that. I'm just like, all right. And like Adonis is ready to retire now. There's so many questions. I feel like there's a lot of things. I'm just like, all right, what's happening?
I mean, it's obviously years after the second one because the daughter is like what, 8 or 9, I would say, or so. Where she was just born in the second one, right? Because that's when they find out that she's going to be deaf.
Yes,
when she's born. Yeah, I mean the time jumps were a little bit interesting just because the flashback with Damien and Adonis, like the casting was fine, but like they don't really look anything like Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan. But I would say,
I mean, you were able to contextually figure it out, but like, yeah, I was like, okay, I got to use what's around the situation to be like, okay, yeah, you guys are. I mean, that's who you're supposed to.
Yeah, it was curious how they filled in the blanks because we don't really know what happened with Adonis after Felicia Rashad picked him up from that juvenile detention center to when we see him in Creed 1 where he's doing the fight in Mexico. Right. So it was good to like get a little bit more context there. And I think that's what they were trying to do with the writer, with Keenan Coogler and Zach Baylin, Justin, with like why he kind of regressed because he hadn't faced this childhood trauma that ultimately got Damien locked up. I think they could have been a little bit. I wonder if they did go a little bit deeper into that, because if y'all remember the Creed 3 trailer, do y'all remember the scene that obviously is in the movie where he's in prison and all the prisoners are chanting Creed? I was like, did he go to jail temporarily because either he had another fight outside of that was unsanctioned, or did he admit that he was the one that did the crime to clear Damien's? I was just curious what that scene was.
I mean, that's not how the law works. It was like you walk up and you're just like, hey, I started that fight that he pulled the gun. It's just like, well, Creed, you're coming to prison and we're gonna let this guy know. That's not,
I was wondering
like,
maybe
especially LA in like the early 2000s is like, oh, 2 niggas in prison? Yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean,
get them all in.
I think the thing, and this is the thing for me that like bothered me most about the story, is Felicia Rashad's character, as much as she did take in Adonis and like change his life, I feel like there wasn't enough confrontation about her cutting Adonis off of Damien, especially knowing that Adonis did run away and was able to escape. The least you could have done is be like, he has been running letters. Because, you know, I think that's why Jonathan Majors, his character was so, it's hard for you not to kind of root for him, even though he does do some shady shit, because you do realize like he took the L for Adonis because Adonis had this wild moment where he blacked out on this dude who was abusing them in the group home. But then it's like, he ran away, he abandoned me, which I get it. He's a kid, he's younger than me. I'm the one that had the gun. But at the same time, you didn't respond to any of my letters for 18 years, and then you became this huge star, and I am looking out for your boy. Like, okay, well, now I'm gonna fuck you up.
And that's what makes like a good drama, right? Is like you gotta have both people have to be right. Like if you know Dame was a certified piece of shit and like put a gun on Adonis and then he went to jail. Like if he was just a hardline supervillain, then we wouldn't really have that much. So like I think you know kudos to the writing of having it be like, all right, well, you kind of can side with him because it's just like, yo, you left me flat for 18 years. Yeah. I'm exacting my revenge. But then you obviously have Adonis on the other side who's just like, I didn't know. Like,
I think that's Coogler. After Coogler has a story by credit in all these movies, including obviously the Black Panther movies. Yep. And every one of his movies, except for like obviously Fruitvale Station, which the enemy was just the LAPD.
I need to hear from them too.
he has
we need both sides.
Yeah, they have great villains. They have great villains where you can really empathize with and understand why they're the way they are and what they're pushing for. Like
they
when
execute nuance very well.
Yeah, like when they had that moment where like you know they're both in the gym and you know Michael B. Jordan's on one side, Jonathan Majors on the other, and they're kind of looking at each other. Like they had great chemistry. But that moment, I was like, every one of these Creed villains except for like the first Creed, like I really understand what they're fighting for. Like Drago's son, that like especially if you've watched the whole fucking Rocky series, when you see that opening, you see Drago training his son, and you're like, I know what they're fighting for. They're fighting for honor again. This is going to be a problem. Like this is going to be, and then for Jonathan Majors to be like, I'm this dude that like trained you how to do this shit. And now you're living my life and you forgot about. I thought that was amazing.
And there is definitely those layers, right? Of like him feeling like, yo, you took my life. And then on top of that, when he gets out of prison, and I don't know if y'all caught this, but like they go out to eat and like, you know, Adonis like slips him some money, just like a charity. Like it felt very charity vibe where he was like, oh, look, here's some money. And then you see Dame react just like, yo, I didn't fucking ask you. Like what? Like don't treat me like a charity case. So like you have that further dynamic of you being like, Adonis, what the fuck's your problem?
Can I just say that? Oh, sorry, Justin. Sorry.
I think the main thing about Creed, the entire series so far for me has been all of surrounded around like male pride. It's been all like every single character, every single movie has been surrounded around male pride because you know Adonis in his first one is like he wants to make a name for himself, which is outside of his father's name. He also just wants to, I mean, I think that's basically it. Now you have the other guy on the other side. He's going to prison. Is like he's going out as the champion. He's going out as the number one, and he's not going to let some young dude just because he has a name come in and take his belt. He doesn't think that he's worthy of his time. We go into the second one. Adonis gets put down by fucking Drago. You know, it was, you know, it didn't count or whatever because he did some shady shit and whatnot. Now he has to fight back against his own fear against this guy who he shouldn't be fighting in the first place because he's a mountain man. That's just besides the point.
I mean, that was a great thing too. They did homage to Rocky IV where they talked about all the it was Rocky V where they talked about all of his injuries and past fights. They did that for Adonis. They're like, you got fucked up kidneys, you got a broken leg,
like your hands are fucked. Yeah, so like there's all of this, and then now you come to this, and you know, and then obviously in the second one you have Drago and his son. You know, you don't need to talk about the pride that they're dealing with, but also on top of that, nationalism on top of that as well, right? Now you're here in this space where Creed, there's the guilt factor. So he's fighting, so no, is that he's fighting, like he acted out of guilt. Then Damien's fighting for pride because he feels like he should be the one in this position, but he's not due to circumstances. And then he feels like his boy kind of left him out there, on the lurch on his own. Then he gets the belt. Now, then he hurts Creed's pride in front of all these fucking people and calls him whatever, and he's throwing salt on his name, so he has to fight. This is and then the way that Adonis actually interacts with his family, with his, and everything after that point that happened that night. This is all pride. Like this whole series is all about pride.
I gotta say though, when they do the homage to Rocky IV, and I forget the dude's name. I call him AZ from Paid in Full because he was
Wood Harris.
Yeah, Wood Harris. I call him AZ, but Wood Harris works. Wood was like, he's like going through all of his injuries, and he just goes, "You're a broken man."
Yeah. Yep.
God damn, physically and emotionally, because he was like, I'm just going to forget about getting beat as a kid. I'm going to forget about a group home, and I'm just going to move on my life. And I'm like, so you, sir, are not addressing the shit that's going on in your head.
That's it's all about therapy. All Adonis needed was some therapy. Well, Damien and Adonis both needed therapy for their different reasons, because Damien's over here getting angry at the mirrors and shit like that. But I gotta say about Jonathan Majors, I feel like Jonathan Majors is the Black Thought of acting. He is so fucking good that I feel like there's gonna get to a point where other actors are not gonna want to work with him, because he's acting laps around these niggas. Like between Ant-Man and this now, I'm like, it's Michael B. Jordan could barely keep up with him, like barely. And like, even I felt like the best scenes with Damien were with Tessa Thompson's character, when he's like, when he's talking to her about how she had to step back from performing and being the star because of her hearing. And like, those scenes were so real, because he's like, I know you don't like this shit. I know you don't like being in the background. Like, how's it feel? Because he feels the same way. He's like, I'm in the background now when I should have been the star. And man, Jonathan Majors, like, no matter what the material he's given, he's elevating that shit. And I thought that and he's got these weird mannerisms as Damien too. Like, he's very undisciplined. And so that just came off in the way he like moved and shit. It was so good.
Just
this little thing right here. That little swag, like swing of that arm, shit like that. See, but I think that go ahead, Jim.
He also just like, when you like meet and see someone who just gets fresh out of jail, like, yo, life isn't normal for them. Right? Like, by and large, obviously, but like, he really he played it well, of just someone who has been out of society for 18 years and was like, all right, I got to go to a party. Oh, okay.
So I think the main thing with Jonathan Majors is he's really good at weaponizing pain in his acting. It's like he really takes that pain that his character has and internalizes that and brings it to the screen in a really raw way that like that is very relatable.
It's accessible. Yeah. Like, it makes it kind of tough, because you're like, oh, I get this pain. It's like Brian Tyree Henry. Like, he has a lot of sadness in his eyes. And so like, whenever you're like Brian Tyree Henry gets to eat off of good material, you're like, man, this guy's clearly been through some shit. Like, and that's like, and that's the thing too, is like, and I commend Michael B. Jordan, because being a director and the lead actor is no easy feat, especially when you're doing a movie where you have to be that's physically demanding like this. So I do want to give him kudos for that.
Yeah, you would know, right, Brandon?
I mean,
from the movie that you were the movies that you have performed in, and you were had some hands behind the camera as well.
Well, I mean, I have.
I know,
Oh,
I
I thought
know,
you were
but
being-
I'm
thought you
just
were being
shining a light
facetious.
on the fact that you like that everyone should go see those Brandon
Oh,
projects
no, not
because
yet,
they're
not
wild.
yet, not yet, not yet. I'm,
I read for one, I believe. Was a journey.
yeah, guys. Hey, you know what's so funny is like both of you like participated in that script reading, and then like months later, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna write scripts for Universal now. I know, like at least one of y'all had to be like, what has the world come to? Like,
No, everyone who listens to this show was thinking that, Brandon. Like we
Oh.
know you a little bit more. We have more context. We're like, yeah, I think Brandon could do it. He'll do all right. Everybody else is like, what?
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
friends with you. We kind of believe in you.
yeah. I know.
I feel like I'm glad I hitched my wagon to you. I'll say that. Looking forward to it.
I did have a question for you guys about the fight scenes because I like them. I like the way that they filmed them. Apparently, they were all filmed in IMAX, which is also not easy to do. But I was talking to Tatiana. She actually thought they were very distracting compared to the first two Creed movies. She's like, they were filmed so differently that it didn't feel cohesive as like a trilogy or whatever they're trying to say this is. What did you guys think about the way the fight scenes?
So like
did you see the anime influence, Justin? Because I know you're big into Dragon Ball Z and stuff, and apparently like Michael B. Jordan's a huge fan of that shit.
So all right, so this is how I'm gonna put it. Like the things I didn't like, I'll just say that. The thing I didn't like was in the last fight where it's just like the room goes black, right? And it's just the two of them, and then like he gets knocked back and and his back hits like the cell, and then the other dude gets knocked back and he's like the corner is like the pillow, like the mattress wrapped, things like that. I thought that was corny.
Okay.
I did enjoy the fact is that they went into a place where it was just them, because that was them working out their problems. And that was like, and that's how they time jumped that entire fight. It's like, and now we're in the last round. So it's like their fight was a gritty, a personal fight between the two of them. That's like, I love that aspect. I didn't need the cage. I didn't need the other shit happening around them. I think if we just stayed in that space without that extra shit, it would have been perfect for me. I also in the first fight, I enjoyed the fact is like yeah, he's taking punches, which no boxer's going to be taking fucking shots to the face like that if you're smart. That's why he's broken. His body, that is, and soon to be his mind, because CTE, if that's how he thinks is going to be the way. But when like when you see the way he's like looking, looking at his ribs, and or looking for that that liver shot. He's looking for a liver shot, and he's seeing the opening, and he's kind of setting him up. Like, I did enjoy that, because that is something that, like, as a fighter, that's what you're doing. You need to be in the moment, in the fire, and thinking 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of him, and setting somebody up for that one shot. So I did enjoy that. But again, and I think this is a problem I have with all Rocky movies, put your hands up, man. Put your fucking hands up. Like what are you doing? And considering the fact that with and as Wood Harris spoke to, is like, your body's broken. You have all of this shit that's going that's going on with you and whatnot. He's going to be in a bad place in the future, especially CTE, because he takes lots and lots of damage, and lots of damage to the head and to the brain. So like, and now if they're going for a Creed 4 where he's starting to deal with CTE, okay, that's a great setup.
I was going to say, I think they could do that with the daughter. They could do the daughter, because obviously they're doing a setup where the daughter might start fighting, and you go into like women boxing, which could be really interesting. And then her dealing with Michael B. Jordan having CTE, I think that could be really, really interesting. Yeah. But also tragic.
The onset of CTE, like, true. Yeah, I mean, I mean, because Rocky really didn't give us that. And
In
Rocky,
5 they tried to, but
Yeah.
we know how that turned out.
Yeah, but
Tommy Gunn.
yeah, but at the same time, at that point, we really didn't have all of that context, medically, just in the real world. So like Rocky didn't really give us that, because Rocky, of anybody, he should have all the CTE, because he literally blocked punches with his face.
Yeah, he did.
Which is not a good strategy.
Yeah,
It'd be wild
and
if Will
considering
Smith from
he also fought Clubber Lang and fucking
Drago.
and fucking Drago, who were fucking crazy heavy hitters. It's like his brain
And Mr. T. Oh wait, you said Clubber Lang, yeah, because I'm like, that nigga killed Mickey.
Yeah, so like, I mean, he killed him. He didn't have to hit him. He had to look at that motherfucker. He's just a nigga.
He just pushed him. That's still one of the funniest, saddest moments in Rocky history, where Mickey's on the table after Rocky gets his ass beat. And he's like, "Did we win, Rock?" And Rocky's like, "No."
You did not.
Nah, Mick, we ain't getting this time. Mickey's like, "I knew it. Don't mess with a big black." Yeah.
It's always the blacks.
I love that Wood Harris kind of played that Mickey character in this, like not just because he's the coach, but because he's like, he's a nigga. What are you doing? This guy's a problem. He's fighting everybody. Like when the mom was like, "Oh, should my son fight Damien?" He's like, "I don't think so. This nigga's reckless. He got nothing to lose. He tried to burn the world down."
Well, you know what?
And then he did get a good Maya Angelou quote where he's just like, "Believe people when they tell you who they are."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, actually, Wood Harris is actually playing more of Mickey, and I can't remember the guy who played Apollo Creed's coach, who then became Rocky's coach.
I forgot that character's name.
Yeah, so do I. But because that character was more ahead of. He was just like, yo, this motherfucker's. He's not playing around, because even he tried to tell Apollo.
Yeah.
Like, not a full deck out there, and
he saw the danger. But Mickey also saw the danger in Clubber Lang. But yeah, so he's like a combination of both, which I actually like as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think there's a lot of places this could go. This had a budget of 75 million, highest grossing sports film ever opening weekend, over 100 million global. So congratulations to Michael B. Jordan, that whole team. And Amazon's really happy because they're the ones that bought the MGM. So they have the rights to the Rocky films as well as James Bond and stuff. Great idea to release this theatrically versus just putting on fucking Amazon Prime. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of streamers are going to start doing that now. I think the prioritization of just stream launching is going to fall by the wayside. So especially with like guild negotiations with actors and writers and such. But yeah, I mean, do you all want to see a Creed 4, or do you want to see a Creed 4 like immediately, or do you want them to wait a while to focus on the daughter? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think, like, look, I would be open to it. I think, like we were talking about earlier, that like if we go in the direction of his daughter starting to fight, and then we have some time where she's like a scrappy upstart, and we get into like women boxing, and like I think that's a good lane to go in. So I'd be open to it. I think for the next go around, if they make this storyline a little bit more of a surprise, like I wasn't like I say that because like in 3, as soon as there's a fight at the club and Drago's hand gets broke, I'm just like, Dame's fucking friend just beat the shit out of this dude.
Yeah, that was some Nancy Kerrigan shit.
Yeah, I was like, oh, so you mean this dude fresh out of prison who wants to fight somebody, somehow magically the guy, like, of course, right? So I feel like for the next go around, I'd be interested in seeing it. I just would love to see a little bit more of like I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, this movie was a bit too predictable. It was kind of spot on with everything that I expected it to be.
Yeah, I wish that Damien had won. I thought that was going to be the surprise, is that Damien was going to win, because I thought that like as much as Creed was willing to like push everything aside and just fight. I think that at the end, like I was expecting him to not like give up, but to give Damian that win, because I think that ultimately, I think it would have serviced both characters if like Adonis had been able to take that L, but with pride, and then Damian's like, you know what, like I'm sorry, like we both fucked up. We both, like they had that moment in the locker room after where he was like, we were just kids or whatever. And I don't know. I felt like that moment would have hit harder if Adonis had lost. It did hit, but I thought it would have been a little bit more powerful.
I honestly, I don't think that Damian could have won that fight. Not saying that he wouldn't have won the fight. I mean, I don't think that he could have won that fight and learned that lesson. He needed to lose. I think he honestly really, God's honest, he needed to lose because if he won, he would have only saw it would have only just proven him right.
Right.
Okay.
He needed to be humbled a bit, and then for him to then come back from that. Now, the one thing that is extremely anime about this, and I understand exactly where it is. So if you watch anime, especially Dragon Ball Z, which I know that Michael B. Jordan is a fan of, every person that Michael B. Jordan, every person that the main character Goku fights then becomes his ally.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean,
that's why Drago's son's like his friend now and stuff like that. Got it.
Yeah, they become his ally. Damian's gonna become his ally once again. So they've patched things up. The dude at the beginning is like, that was a different thing because he went away. So he comes back trying to reclaim his title. But even so, there's nothing but respect, stuff like that. There is nobody in this, like in this franchise who's like, oh, that just dude's just a fucking bad dude. Like when Rocky beat Clubber Lang, they weren't fucking going out for drinks.
Yeah, they were going to get some Kool-Aid mixers.
When Rocky beat fucking Ivan Drago, they didn't get back together. Drago, obviously he came back later, and that resentment is what brought us, the character later, right? It's like he is he is 100% beating people into submission where I'm gonna be cool with you now. And that is extremely anime, especially when it comes to Dragon Ball. So it's just like that's the one like I don't understand how people's like the whole anime influence. Like I didn't really see it up until that point. That's where I was just like, that's some Goku shit right there.
And it's also very Dom Toretto-ish too. It's like, oh, you try to kill us? It's all good, baby. You part of the family now.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss not to mention the quick Stephen A. Smith cameo, which I hate this man, but he had such a funny line when he was interviewing Adonis, and he's like, Adonis, I've been trying to get you on my show forever. It's like he was like upset. He's like, but now you're here. And then Damian calls in. And I was like, oh, this nigga already living large. He living in like a penthouse apartment with this hot ass honey, and just like calling on the speakerphone, be like, "What's up, you little bitch?
little bitch, you little bitch, ain't you, Mark?"
Very old school Nextel. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, if he'd been in prison for 18 years, that's where he's at. That Nextel. Bleep, bleep. Yo.
Yep. Where you at?
It's funny because when Paul and we went and saw this together, her review is like, I feel like there should have been more shirtless scenes with Michael B. Jordan, but that's besides the point.
All the women in the gay men in my theater were like fucking squirting the whole fucking time. The whole fucking movie.
There's not even there. Yeah, I mean, like if you did like a pop quiz of the plot line afterwards, I've been like, what?
What plot line?
What plot? What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. Like all these fake fans, because I'm like, you know how much stupid Rocky should have had to deal with to get to the emotional payoff of these Creed movies. Like y'all don't know.
Don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
Take off your shirt. And then it's funny because it's like I had this conversation with Paula like a while ago. I'm just like, now this isn't me hating on Michael B. Jordan, but it's just something that I've just seen. It's just like about his body. He's literally maximized the muscle that he could put on his body. on his frame, which, and again, not hate. It's just like I look at his frame and see the way he's made out, the way it's like, it's almost, he's like at the point where if he puts any more muscle on, it's gonna look weird and unnatural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, he has great body and stuff like that. And then she goes into this whole thing of talking about, even Jonathan Majors' body compared to his, and yada yada yada. And I'm just like, oh, I just opened the door for you
Oh yeah.
to just gush over these two fucking muscle-bound black men. And I just gotta sit here and take it. And I'm gonna be a part of the conversation as well.
I've
like,
never
I
seen,
fucked up.
bro. I've like the two posters, like when we were walking to Alamo Draft House, they had the posters, of him, Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan side by side with the Cree logo. And my wife is just doing this. Like she doesn't even know which one she prefers now. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they knew what they were doing with the marketing. You know what I mean? And to be fair, they do this all the time with female stars, right?
Yeah.
So, good for the good for the fans of these brothers making it happen. I think that I think we are on the cusp of a new group of Hollywood stars, and Justin and I have talked about this in the past with Jenna Ortega, who's about to have the #1 film with Scream 6 coming out. You got Jonathan Majors, Michael B. Jordan with their Cree movies. I think we're really starting to see like these people of color who are opening movies to big numbers. And I think that that's going to be the new, I think that Hollywood's just been dragging their feet and admitting that, but I genuinely think that we're looking at the new Hollywood stars right now.
And also what we're seeing too is that normally, I think we've seen this in Hollywood, is that we have one go-to black guy.
Yeah.
Well, now there's two. You could have Jonathan Majors or Michael B. Jordan. Like you have more than one black dude who's like that it. Now what I also wanted to add to, I knew that Adonis was going to win the fight early. Like I knew his fight versus Dame, I knew he was going to win.
Oh, okay.
Because he was driving around having his little introspective moment. It's like, man, can I really do this? And then he saw himself in a Ralph Lauren ad, and I was like, oh, he's going to win. Of course, he's got this.
For those who don't know,
I mean,
Jim is
and that's coming
Jim,
from the Polo Don himself.
Exactly. That's he knows a winner when he sees one.
Yeah. They, Polo's been 99-0. So how can they lose now?
I do want to say I thought that what they did with Tessa Thompson's character, I think it was weird because to Justin's point about like the timeline, they obviously tried to make her look older, but Tatiana pointed out she looked a lot like Felicia Rashad. So she was like, are they trying to say that like Adonis kind of married his mother in a way? It was like very
But
odd.
Felicia Rashad is not his mother.
I know, but like is his mother figure, you know what I mean? And there's always that thing about like, men marry their mothers and shit.
Yeah,
doesn't have to just be birth
married
mothers.
to dads.
Yeah,
To some degree.
Maybe, yeah, it's fucking the human race is weird, but yeah,
Correct.
I mean, I was interested in seeing where she was. I feel like we could have got a little bit more because I felt like a lot of Tessa's scenes were just like, Donnie, you gotta talk to me. Donnie, what's going on? He's just like internalizing his anger or whatever.
But that's the thing that bothered me. It's just like, so in the first one, obviously they're just getting to know each other. So he wasn't very open with her, right? Fine. The second one, they basically had the same exact problem. He wasn't communicating with her and everything, and he was starting to fucking fuck up, right? And then the third one, this is also how many years later he's still not communicating with his fucking wife. That's almost the regression. That's the thing that I was just like, come on, man, you gotta be better than this. Now, mind you, I understand some of the reasons because it's the pride factor. You don't want to. Who wants to? You're the heavyweight champion of the world. Who wants to talk about the fact that you were being abused by a kid in a group home? And that's what made you into the boxer that you are today. That's where fighters come from. And they're most of the time is bad fucking conditions. Right?
Yeah.
Now, so you don't want to talk about that, but then it's like so there's this whole side of him that his wife doesn't even know about, that never came out. She doesn't know anything about Damien, and it's like, so it's those things are the things I'm just like, like the character growth. It just like he like, give me a little bit more. Like where is his character going next? Because it is the same thing from the last 3 movies with him and his wife, which is a huge part of of who Adonis Creed is.
But I would say though, Justin, I would say like if he does in fact like learn his lesson in so many ways, I'm just wondering what direction is Adonis if he's in touch with his emotions. I just feel like it's so much of his core to be that stoic dude. And while, yes, I agree with you, like it seems a little cliched at this point, but it's like, I don't know what that looks like. And maybe that's for creative writers.
But that's the thing, like that now we have some really solid writing to do.
Right.
And we need to break out of the shell of like doing like the simple fucking everyday man shit and stepping into something that's different. Like,
well, you know what? I don't want to talk about this right now. I'm not going to tell you how I really feel about my feelings on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna cross my arms and then I'm gonna go drink. I'm gonna go do something stupid, right?
Well,
quick.
I think to what we were talking about earlier with like cut scenes from the trailer, I wonder if there was a cut that did go a little bit deeper, because I did feel that this movie really told the line between being almost too dramatic and serious at times and pulled it back to being more Rocky-esque. And so I think if they would have tipped it over, it's possible, like in test screenings or what have you, they were like a little bit too serious, a little bit too dark, because Sylvester Stallone kept talking about how dark Creed 3 was compared to what he initially always envisioned for the Rocky series. And I'm like, this wasn't much darker than the second one or the first one with the shit that Donnie was dealing with. And, especially the second one when Drago's like literally trading his son to murder this kid.
Yeah.
He created a killing machine. Like,
right. Which, like, so there's 2 things I want to say. One, what I do think is interesting is the relationship Adonis has with his daughter and how he is able to be like fun and silly. And like he has like a tea party and he puts on like a dinosaur costume, which like
Yoshi, straight up Yoshi.
Yeah, that was cute.
Which like I think speaks to again how he so much lost his childhood that like now that he has a daughter, he's like, well, now I can relive what I would want as a child. And so that's why he is so in connected with his daughter, And the other point I was going to make too, and I think this is really great nuance of the abuse that Adonis received, was in the scene, and I don't really notice this, but like when he runs into the guy that beat the shit out of him, he turns and he goes, "Do you remember me?" And Leon's like, "No," because abusers never remember any of the trauma that they give anyone. So in true abuse fashion, he's just like, "What are you talking about? I don't know who you are." And I'm sure that, of course, set him the fuck off. Like,
exactly.
You don't remember me? I remember you, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, and also in fashion of like people just being shitty to people, and then they just go on and move on with their life. Forget you call somebody corny, they never forget it. That's how we knew it was true, because the look in his eyes. She's like, I didn't call him that. Like, yes, you did, because the look in his eyes when he saw you, he was just like, oh, this is a chick used to call me corny all the fucking time.
And also the body, right? Because you can't really see me if you're listening, but it's like he's at a slant because it's just like your energy. That's middle school. Nope.
Yep.
Get the fuck away from me, lady.
Yeah, it was that interview was funny because she was like, at the end, she's like, you're not corny no more. And then I think Charlemagne on I think Brilliant Idiots or someone was like, it's like she shouldn't have said that. Like she validated what he was saying while she tried to deny it. It's like it made it worse for her.
Yep.
Right.
100%.
All
she had to say was, fuck, you know what? I'm sorry about that. I was a young kid and I was an idiot.
That's all you gotta do. All you gotta do is
that's
be like,
literally all you gotta say.
just wait. We were kids. I was an idiot. I didn't know how things were gonna pan out. Obviously, like
Which
No,
is
no. And you only have to say that. All you have to
Yeah.
say is like, I was dumb and I wasn't nice, and I'm sorry if I wasn't nice to you. I like that. Yeah, I sucked. I'm sorry about that. Now,
which on some
I'm glad that
level,
you're who you are
Yeah.
now, and I didn't affect you to the point where you gave up. That's it. That's all you have to say. And he would have been like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have, because then he would have looked like the asshole, right?
Actually, not necessarily. He would have came from a place of strength because he is, kind of talking to somebody who, brought him enough pain to the fact that he remembers it to this day and remembers her face to this day. But
well, I think it's also she talked about it on her podcast, right?
and no, she made it 20 times worse.
No, but she talked about it on her podcast before that interview, right? Like she had mentioned like that they used to call him corny or something. So she even brought it back up. So it's possible he may not have even like connected it until his assistant or someone was like, hey, she's the one that called you corny. He's like, and this bitch went to school with me too? Okay.
Ain't nobody listen, Michael B. Jordan ain't getting fucking intel on a reporter that's going to talk to him at it's like I don't think that's the case.
They do though. Yeah,
What's
because a lot of stars they have assistants with them that it's almost like Veep, where like her head bag dude will whisper to her like who some people were. That's what they do for people on red carpets and shit. They like whisper like what publication they are and stuff like that.
Well, yes, yeah. I know that's the case, but I don't think that like they listen to it was just like this bitch called you corny on episode 472. Like I don't think that's the case.
Which I gotta say this, though, she made this even in addition, another way why she made this so bad for herself, because I was listening to some, like, I'm assuming it was a soundbite from her podcast, but she basically said like, oh, well, we all made fun of each other back then. People made fun of me
because I was light skinned. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so now it's about you.
Mm-hmm.
And also what you did is okay because it was happening to everyone. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it always happens.
No, thank you.
Oh, Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. So, guys, we rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any popcorn, we throw it into the dog shit pile. We pile piles and piles of dog shit on top of it. So we sat down and we watched the 2023 film Creed 3, starring Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors, Felicia Rashad, Tessa Thompson, and some returning Rocky characters. My man, Jim Search, what say you, sir?
Let's see. Where does this fall? I'm gonna give it a medium bag. Like I was saying before, I felt like the storyline was really predictable. And for me personally, it's just like I like a good twist. Like you got to wow me with that storyline. So I think that's what really stuck out for me that's putting it in the medium. On the bright side of it, I mean, like Brandon, you were saying, like Jonathan Majors is just on a fucking another level in terms of acting, and like the way that Jonathan was able to really capture like some nigga from LA who went to jail for 18 years down to the accent and tics. I'm just like, this is fucking great. And also even in the fight scenes too, I really liked how the camera was cutting towards in Dame's fights where he would cut to different parts of Felix's body. And you could watch his like brain work, be like, that's where I gotta hit him. And then he went out and just started fucking demolishing people. Like, so that I really appreciated. And also I will say, like, got in the feels when Michael B. Jordan put on the fucking Yoshi costume. Like, come on, I'm not made of stone. Like, this is fucking and then at the end when she gets in the ring and knocks him out and he fought, like, come on, I'm not fucking made of stone. So medium bag.
Brandon, what you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with medium as well. it is a bit too predictable. But I think it's a good movie to kick off like this film season for 2023. Like, you know, we have a lot of sequels and blockbusters coming out. I thought this is a really good starting point. I think Michael B. Jordan did a very solid job, like directing his first film, especially a franchise that's as popular as the Creed one is now, and you know it's the biggest opening, so he's obviously got a promising future there. And Jonathan Majors, I think the problem with Jonathan Majors is just that he's acting circles around everybody. There's very few actors that can keep up with him. And I wanted to see more of the scenes with Tessa Thompson to him because she seemed to be the only actor really that could be on his level, given the material that they got in this movie. But I still really enjoyed like Dame and Adonis's relationship. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that fleshed out in future movies. As Justin pointed out, they're going to be friends now. I really like the daughter, the Amara, the actress that played her. I thought that she was really sweet. I thought that their relationship, their family dynamic was just worked for me, and the representation of American Sign Language. I really appreciate that, having family members that are hard of hearing. But again, it's a little bit too predictable. And if you've seen the other Rocky movies, as much as there's like cool homages to it, you're also like, I know where this is going. Like it's all too predictable. Whereas I think for me, Creed, the first one, was such a surprise because it was such a different take on like the reboot sequel thing that I was like, okay, I'm fucking with this. And then the second one, you're just like, you have the emotional arc with Drago's son and shit, and you know why they're fighting. But yeah, it's solid. It's a solid film. Medium popcorn, baby. Justin?
I'm going to give it a medium as well. So mediums across the board. Like it, and you know, I think it can't be said too many times. Like, this is a very predictable film. It just is. It's super predictable. You know what's happening from the moment you get started. I'm like, oh, okay, here, this is the journey we're going on, and they didn't really divert from it, which I think was a little bit of a problem. And the fact is, like, we got the same character arc that we got in the first two movies. As like, I want to see something different out of the Creed character. I want to see Adonis go somewhere else. But on the other side is like, this movie did hit your feels, and in different ways, like, with the daughter, yeah, things like that. Jonathan Majors and Tessa Thompson speaking about, being the person in the spotlight, and then you having to step back and then, let somebody else have that shine, which you typically belongs to you. And for me, like, my little brother went to prison, and, I didn't, obviously not closely, not in the same way. So it's like, I actually have some of these things that, like Donnie, the guilt and things like that. So like, I felt that part of it as well. So like, even, because even like someone goes to prison and that's its own thing, but then also the family of someone who went to prison and stuff like that, that's a whole nother thing, which they didn't go deep into that, because you don't want to make it about the other person, but there is something there. And like, I felt that was there, and I did connect with that. So like, I think that should be spoken about, the fact that they did hit that on a point. And if you understand that feeling, like it's there. So anyone who does understand that kind of thing, like they're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it for sure.
There you have it, folks. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it all over your body, just like the oil on these gentlemen's body in Creed 3. We know you ladies and some of you gentlemen like that shit. You nasty motherfuckers. Jim, please remind the people how they can follow you on social medias, as well as get your album when it comes out in April, sir.
Yes. So you can find me on all social media at Jim Search. You can go to jimsearchcomedy.com. You can find my show dates and shit like that. My album, Upstate Understandings, coming out early April 8th. So go hit up Bandcamp. You can find me on Bandcamp through that. You can find it through my bio. The links are going to be in my bio, so follow me through that. And also, when you follow me, you will find links, or you'll find posts for the album release party over at Beer Wax. Date to be determined, but you got to go pull up for that. And remember, if you buy one copy of the album, you can always buy another one.
There you go, folks. Follow him and support the homie Jim Search. Just how can people follow you?
Guys, you can follow me at J Brown Did It on all the socials. And Brandon?
Y'all can follow me at American Collins on all social media platforms. Got some shows coming up, so check that out. And then, of course, you can follow the show at Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms as well. Go to youtube.com/Medium Popcorn. Push that subscribe button so you get alert about all future videos, interviews, and other fun shit that we post on there in the future. And Justin, if people want to support the show financially, what can they do from Medium Popcorn?
Oh boy. Why don't you take yourself over to patreon.com/Medium Popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages on there. So you can join what we're doing, and you can really get behind and get all those bonus episodes, our backlogs, guys. Like if you want extra content, we got it for you, and it's all on Patreon. So it's patreon.com/Medium Popcorn.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, Jim, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And folks, yeah, and folks, be sure to leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast application. We'll read it on the show. It's been a while since we had a 5-star review, so get up on that. But as always, we'll talk to you soon, glitter and all.
Peace.